Hey everyone, I'm Patrick from Oakland Travel, and welcome to the Harmony of the Seas in May of 2022. It's the morning of our second day. We are getting ready to head up to the Windjammer for our first attempt at breakfast. And as it turns out, it would be the only morning that we went to the Windjammer, which is very unusual for us. But you'll see here in a minute as we get to the footage that we ran into a very interesting problem that we've never ever seen before, and that is a line to get into the Windjammer for breakfast, or I guess it maybe even happens for lunch. I didn't get any footage of it because I didn't want to hold anybody up, but we figured out while we were standing in line that the reason we were standing in line is because of the poorly designed flow of people going into the Windjammer, because they were forcing everybody to go into these little stations to wash their hands, but the stations were only big enough for 3 people at a time, and it just wasn't very well thought out and wasn't well designed. And so what you have is all of these people trying to come to the Windjammer in the morning for breakfast and maybe even for lunch. And they have to route all of them through this area to wash their hands, and it causes a bottleneck. And so that is the reason for the line. And once we actually got into that little area to wash our hands and we saw how it was slowing everything down, only 3 people at a time. So it's the first time we've ever seen that. We've been on countless other ships in the fleet. We were a Mariner just a few months before this in 2022. Adventure of the Seas previous year. We've been on Allure of the Seas, Oasis of the Seas, countless other ships in the fleet. This was the first time we've ever run into a line to get into the Windjammer. So from that point on in the cruise, we decided to make other arrangements, and we ended up going over to the Solarium Bistro, which was a much better experience. And so for the entire 7-night cruise, we had breakfast in the Windjammer once, and I think we actually did the main dining room for breakfast a couple times too. That was pretty good. So between the main dining room and Solarium Bistro, we were covered for the rest of the cruise. But a little disappointing because I love me some Windjammer, but yeah, just couldn't put up with the poorly designed entrance to the Windjammer, and then it also seemed like it was hard to find seating in there. So. Kind of an unusual experience. Never run into that with the Windjammer before. So Harmony of the Seas was the first time on an Oasis-class that we had an issue like that.
I don't know. I feel like it's the design of the ship or something. Why we've never had this before, pre-COVID.
Yeah, you should.
You need to ask them, because when we didn't have soap, we had to ask them. Yeah.
Oh, there's a...
I swear, it feels like there's less seating, less food, less everything in here.
I remember being this high up.
Oh, it's the wash your hands thing. What's the wash your hands thing? That's the box.
You're near the window.
So just keep
Okay, well, we will get one of that. Let me try and find a banana party, and then I'll sit him down. Thank you.
Sorry.